I am going to be answering some frequently asked questions, things that people will not stop leaving in my DMs, no matter how many times I answer it. So I'm going to leave a video right here so that you guys can refer to it forever. Like I said, these are frequently asked questions that people get stuck on, thinking that they can't buy a home because of it, or at least they want to know if they can buy a home regardless of this question that they bring up or situation. So I'll be going by them one by one. Stay tuned. Can I buy a house if I am self-employed? Absolutely. Self-employed people ask me this all the time. The most important thing to remember is the bank simply wants to verify your income, make sure you're not playing them. The better you can document it, the better your options, and often the better your interest rate. For example, let's say you made $150,000 a year and you have taxes to prove it, along with your bank statements, or maybe you've put yourself on payroll. Regardless, the bank usually wants to see your tax returns. This might mean a higher tax bill, but the bank sees that income and can qualify you for full doc, conventional, VA, or FHA mortgages. These options usually come with the best interest rate and lowest out of pocket. Now, let's say you don't report all your income. Just kidding. But you do deposit a lot of your or most of your business income into your business bank account. Some lenders offer what's called a bank statement loan. These typically require a 2-year or 24-month history of bank statements proving that you were getting a certain amount of income, and then the bank or the lender themselves average it out. And they're probably also going to ask for a profit and loss statement, but don't panic, because I know a lot of you, especially my Mexican people out there, love to say that you made nothing, you made zero money, you actually made negative money, so you get taxes back, when in fact you're driving a 2025 truck. Okay, that's all well and good. The bank's just going to ask for it, and you just have to provide it. But if you have the money in the bank and you have the bank statements to prove that you're getting money, it'll be fine. The only thing is that, yes, there is a higher interest rate because of that, because they're kind of taking a risk. They're not really verifying your income as thoroughly as a full doc person would. So yeah, a little higher interest rate, a little higher out of pocket too. But all that depends on your credit as well. Can I buy a home if I have student loans? This is for all my people who did the right thing, who went to college, they grinded it out, they graduated, they got their degree, they got their job, and then they also got a huge student loan bill. First of all, the is wrong with you? I'm just kidding. Great job. I'm proud of you. Seriously though, student loans doesn't automatically mean that you can't buy a home, but it might. It depends. If you're actively making monthly payments or you're in forbearance, the lender will take whatever you pay monthly or what you might pay monthly, and they're going to subtract that from your lendable income. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. This is where the concept of DTI comes in. Debt to income. I'm going to explain it with this very high production animation that I definitely did not use Claude to make. Let's say you make 10 grand a month and you have about $2,000 a month in debt obligations, car payments, credit card payments, student loans. That leaves you with $8,000 of lendable income. Now, assuming you're going FHA, the bank will allow you to have a payment of no more than 55% of your lendable income. So they're going to take that 8,000 and they're going to multiply it by 55%, and you're going to be ended up with a maximum payment of $4,400. That payment is going to determine basically what kind of home you can buy, what area you can live in, how expensive. That's the only thing, okay? Obviously, it's going to depend on what kind of interest rate you get, because, you know, how much of that is going to be interest is going to depend on what your interest rate is and what your credit is and things like that. So there's a lot still kind of in the air, but that's more or less the gist of it. What if I just started a new job? First of all, why are you job hopping, dude? You're like a job bunny or something? Job whore. The answer is it depends. Let's say you graduated and you got a great job. Congratulations. And the job came with an employment contract that is for more than 2 years, or expresses that it is not temporary, cannot be temporary. If there's any verbiage that says temporary on the contract, cannot use it. You get your contract, it says how much you're going to make. The lender will take that and they will qualify you on that. They're going to say, okay, you have a contract. This company, this school, this place is contractually obligated to pay you this amount for these years. This is what I can qualify you based on your credit and all that. Okay. Again, if you make $10,000 a month, you don't have any debt, they're going to take that and they're going to multiply it and they're going to give you your debt to income ratio right there. It just depends on what you make. But yes, you can with the job offer letter. Now, let's say you quit your job because you were working with a person and you don't like them anymore because they broke your heart. So you quit and you're heartbroken for a year. So you're unemployed for a year and now you want to buy a house. Not going to happen unless you have some crazy extenuating circumstances or extraordinary circumstances that put you in a position to buy, like all of a sudden you're making $100,000 a month or something like that. Maybe. And even then it's a maybe. The bank needs to see you working, even if it's like 2 months. The only exception is if you are injured or there was some kind of valid reason that you can prove to the bank happened and not just some kind of hullabaloo. In that case, then yes, they can forgive it and they can kind of just count your income as it was. But if not, no. I have collections. First of all, we've all been there. Happens to the best of us. It's okay. It really just depends on what kind of collections you have. Like medical debt is something that we can really work around, especially when it's something that, was unexpected and something you can kind of justify to the bank that was like, really hard to take care of. And usually medical debt collectors, especially here in California, we have a lot more laws protecting us against that being used against us. So not bad. But after that, it really does depend. We have to see what kind of debt it is, how bad it's affected your credit, and then try to remedy the situation from there. Because sometimes the credit has been affected so much that you won't qualify, period, until you fix your credit. And sometimes to do that, you have to come out of collections. And so, yeah, it's a little difficult. But if you go with credit repair people, they can delete those off of collections. Your credit will improve for about a month, and then you can qualify. And then when you qualify, you can buy until, they're like, hey, what are you doing, gang? But at that point, you'll have a house and maybe a better, financial position. And then you can kind of just, or maybe you still don't want to pay it. It'll reaffect your credit, but you already have your house. You're already locked in a good rate. Who cares? Maybe you hate the debtors. They harass you too much. And you're like, how about, no, buddy, how about I'm not going to pay you GCFS? I don't care if I don't want to pay, someone. I don't know. But I hate debt collectors too because they suck. Because we want to live our lives and we want to spend other people's money with no repercussions. Okay? So, yeah. If you're a debt collector and you want to buy a house, hit me up though. I'm cool with you if you're cool with me. But yeah, there's other types of debt that might also be able to be forgiven. For example, student loans. There's the government can forgive your student loans, things like that. But yeah, so the good news is that collections doesn't automatically mean you cannot buy a home. We just have to see the full picture. So call me. I'm here to help. I'll answer my phone at any time of the day, and I'll help you out for sure. If I have a bankruptcy, now you're putting me to work. The answer is yes, eventually. A bankruptcy doesn't mean that you'll never buy a house again. It just means you're probably going to have to wait. How long? Depends on the type of bankruptcy and the loan program you're using and whether or not you built credit since then. During that wait, your job is pretty simple. Pay your bills on time. Don't rack up any new debt. Keep improving your credit as best as you can. Banks love to see that you've learned, and they love to lend out money because that's how they make money. I've had people come to my open houses and say, oh, we're never going to buy a home. We just like to look because we went bankrupt in 2023. I'm like, really? Well, what kind of bankruptcy? Chapter 7, Chapter 13, Chapter 11? And then I talk to them and I let them know, no, you can 100% still buy a house. It really just depends on how you've been looking at your credit and how you've been working on yourself and how you've been managing your money since then. Just to breathe in some hope to them, because honestly, it's really hard for you to not be able to buy a house. It's hard to buy a house. Don't get me wrong. It's expensive, but it's not impossible at all for anybody. What if I owe child support? Fuck yeah. You could be the most deadbeat mom or dad and I will get you into a house so you can post it on Instagram so your baby mama or baby daddy can see. But in all seriousness, if you're making your child support payments on time and the lender can see that, they're just going to use it kind of as debt. Like how when we talked about lendable income earlier, they're going to subtract it. Like instead of, say you have $2,000 of debt obligations a month and $300 or $500 of child support a month, they're going to subtract that extra $300 to $500. And you instead will now have to multiply 55% by 7,500 and have a smaller payment, not going to lie, but it's still possible. It would just be like a car payment or any other debt obligation. Now, if you're not paying and you have a significant amount built up that you still owe, the lender might require you to become current and before they're able to qualify you and not use that against you, because then the bank won't allow it until it's resolved. The good news is that owing child support does not automatically disqualify you. Just like everything else on this list, the lender just wants to make sure they know what your monthly obligation is and whether or not you'll be comfortably able to afford your payment. On top of it, does my spouse have to be on the loan? If you're going to use their income, yes. But what I really think a lot of people are asking when they ask this question is, do they have to be on title? No, they don't have to be on title. However, if they're not going to be on title, they'll have to, the consenting party or the spouse who's not going to be on title has to consent to it and sign an interspousal deed saying that this is your sole and separate property and they have no rights and no obligation to it. As for the personal ramifications of that, I will resist commenting. So yeah, those are some frequently asked questions about qualifying for a home. Maybe next video we will do the process of buying from beginning to end. This is my first video on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, comment, hate on it. I don't care. Something so that it helps the algorithm. And I'll be posting short clips on my other platforms, TikTok, Instagram, also here on YouTube Shorts, and anywhere else there's short form content I will probably be uploading. All right, guys.